This is Section 1904. It's a new world. It's a whole new day out there. It's a new microphone. Very excited about that. Let me just start by saying it is Thursday. Something I stumbled across as I was getting set to log on and get ready for this podcast today on this Thursday. I stumbled across that we are a 5-star rated podcast according to Apple Podcasts.
Let's go.
I found that by accident. I was just trying to find the link that John and I use for the server. It's called Riverside. I was just trying to find the link so that I can log in, and it accidentally directed me to Apple Podcasts, where I did see 26 reviews. I didn't read any of them. We'll save that for a really slow day in sports. But 26 people have taken the time to review this podcast, and we are sitting there with 5 stars. Now, we've never asked anybody to do that, to review it.
We have not.
To smash the like button.
We probably should. There's more.
Have you seen that guy on Instagram who does a whole bit about smash the like button?
No.
You've not seen that guy?
No, but I've heard a number of podcasts tell me to smash the like button.
Well, this guy is taking off on that. He's just an influencer. He's a regular guy in Chicago, or at least he was. And he started this bit where everywhere he and his wife would go, they would go to Home Depot, and he'd be like, "What's happening, fam? Here at Home Depot. Don't forget to leave a comment and smash that like button." And his wife is mortified every single time. It's actually really funny. Thought about getting him on the show. I saw that he's getting a little bit of run in Chicago. He actually found himself on one of the Chicago television shows, one of those morning shows. Very funny. I'm sure the bit has a shelf life, but good for him. He's got merch out there now, so he's doing all sorts of fun stuff with it. Go look for it, though. It really is funny. Somebody must have liked this into my timeline on Instagram. And, of course, there I am sitting on the couch going through all the different, "Hey, what's happening, everybody? I'm out here at Olive Garden." And his wife every time's like, "Will you stop? Please stop." She's just absolutely humiliated by what it is that he's doing, but he's turning it into a profit, so good for him. Anyhow, we appreciate that people have taken the time to do that. Did you know that we had those kind of reviews?
No, I keep meaning to go back and check them. Some of my favorite podcasts, 2 of them specifically, have a thing where, like, at the very end, they will literally read every review that you leave them on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. And I'm like, at some point, maybe we mess around with that if we get enough of them. But no, I get people that email me almost every day, Darren, with some sort of issue. "Hey, I don't know how to get to the subscribers only podcast," or "I'm not getting the front row seat anymore. What happened?" And every time I help them out, they're always like, "By the way, love the show. You and Darren doing great work. This content's fantastic. I listen to you guys every day." So I get the reviews directly in my inbox. I haven't seeked them out yet. But yeah, if anyone else out there hasn't left us a review or a rating on Apple and or Spotify, wherever you listen, feel free to do that, especially if it's positive. It helps more people find this show. It helps us to grow this community.
Yeah, I usually, when I'm logging in just to find the website that John and I use to record the podcast, usually it just auto-populates. I think that's the right terminology.
Yep.
And instead today, it just directed me to a search, and I was surprised to see that Section 1904 came up there in the search, and it was the Apple Podcast. So I don't know if we've done a little bit of work to optimize people on the search engine, but whatever it is, I was grateful for it. Hopefully I'm not drawing attention to this and people will start giving us 1-star reviews. I don't know. But it's a new microphone, so this might sound a little bit different, John. I don't know. Does it sound? It sounds different to me. It's almost distracting how different this new microphone sounds. So It's going to take me a little while to get used to it because it sounds like something's wrong. And my inclination, my instincts are to start messing with the microphone. And I'm doing my very best not to mess with the microphone because anytime that I feel like it's deviated from what I'm used to hearing in my headphones, my first instinct is to start messing with it, move it further away, move it closer. Whatever the case is, I'm not used to this yet, so I don't know what it sounds like on your ends, but it's just a bit distracting for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've had the same microphone that you have. I've had for a couple weeks now, and it's still a little distracting to me because I sound louder and clearer in my own headphones, which is both good and can be distracting at times, but I'm getting used to it. I can say that you sound different. You sound clearer. I'm hearing less background noise, less echo, all of that. So hopefully the end product of this is well worth our investment.
I also noticed, too, as we're recording that visually, because I have a background, that the microphone is not appearing on the screen. So it is actually taking up space from my body, which looks weird.
Yeah, no, this the last week we were talking about how I wanted to adjust my background for, when we post out the video clips, and we've been talking about maybe doing some live stuff on video on YouTube. And you were like, why don't you just use one of these backgrounds where like blurs or whatever? And the problem is my microphone comes up here right around my mouth, and the background was doing the same thing, but then it just had this big round thing going up towards my mouth. And I thought that was probably a bad thing to have out there on the internet for a number of reasons.
Okay. Well, I just changed it now. Is this better? Does this work?
Yeah. No, I think that looks great.
All right. Well, anyway, we have a guest today. We have a guest lined up, and I probably shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves because we're actually doing something that we normally don't do, which is start the podcast and then plan to edit the guest in.
Yep.
So I probably shouldn't go too far down this road, but it's related to NASCAR, and we're going to do the first portion of this podcast. Hopefully, we're going to talk to Mark Neville, who's the CEO of Sports San Diego, about NASCAR coming to Coronado, coming to San Diego County. We've been talking about just the idea of it for a couple of weeks now. It is official, been announced by all parties, coming next summer, at least for 1 year. It's going to be on the Naval base in Coronado. Hopefully, we'll get some details if you want to go attend this event, how you can go ahead and do it. But we are planning to talk to Mark Neville, which means fingers crossed this will happen. Sometimes everybody agrees to something and then you start and you don't know what direction things are going to go. So if we have to, we'll just spend a little bit of time talking about all the teenagers that are coming to San Diego Football Club, since now they have officially signed Aiden Harangi. They are linked to two other players on loan. Well, one player on loan, David Vasquez, another one who will be assigning Pedro Soma, 19 years old, 18 years old. So we got three more teenagers coming to San Diego Football Club here as the transfer window has opened. Only one of these is official. The club has announced, at least as of the time of this recording, that Aiden Harangi, who's a defender, will be here on loan till the end of the season. 3 goals, 6 assists in his career in Germany. So the other two I'm getting used to a little bit, trying to learn more. Hopefully by the broadcast tomorrow night, Friday night against Nashville. I don't know how many of these players or if any of these players will be available on Friday night, but at least 3 players, it would appear, John, are on their way as reinforcements for San Diego Football Club.
I mean, that's good news. They could use them. I thought I knew Harangi by name, and I just looked it up, and I'm like, there's no reason I would know him. I did see, Tottenham's best player was rumored to be headed towards LAFC. I sincerely hope that does not happen, since they are now a rival club. Not looking forward to that at all. While we're here, we can probably knock this out in 2 minutes. You and I did a pretty good job of kind of like shitting all over the MLS skills challenge yesterday. It just wasn't really for us. And I think the All-Star game last night, there was definitely it was overshadowed by the fact that Lionel Messi was supposed to be there and he wasn't there. But I gotta say, that was about the most competitive All-Star game I've seen in a very long time. And I don't mean close. I mean it didn't really look too different than watching an actual game. The guys were giving, if not full effort, close to it. And especially towards the end when it was 2-1 before it became 3-1, it was getting spicy. Guys were pushing and fouling each other. I'm not saying they were getting into fights, but I was like, this is actually high-level soccer. There was some incredible passes going on, defense being played. I ended up at the end of that being you know what? The skills challenge was maybe the weak link here. The game itself was actually pretty good.
I'll have to take your word for it.
You didn't watch? Oh, you were on the radio. I forgot.
I was on the air for an hour of it. I don't know that this was the best timed SDFC midweek show at 6 o'clock, right as the game started. We did see the introductions. We were live on the radio. We saw the introductions, saw that Chucky started, saw that that Dreyer started. Other than that, then I drove home and I put it on and looked at the minutes afterwards. It looks wonky when you see so many substitutions in a soccer match. Starters got about, what did I write down here? 34 minutes for Chucky, 34 minutes for Anders. Anders actually was subbed out for a player who plays for Nashville, who we'll see tomorrow night, in Hane Mukhtar. Yepe got about 20 minutes, 28 minutes, I think is the official count. So it just looks weird. I think it just looks weird. If you watch it, maybe there was a little bit more flow to some of the substitutions, but when you watch a lot of football, when you watch a lot of this sport, it does seem a little bit disjointed that you just had so many substitutions. So I understand you're trying to get everybody in there. You're trying to get everybody minutes. You're trying to make it worth everybody's while. If they took the time to go to Austin, you want to make it worth their while. So you got to get them into the game in some capacity. But I think this was probably the most I've ever paid attention to the MLS All-Star Game. And I did say to myself afterwards, maybe it's just the concept of All-Star Games. Maybe everybody else in the world has it right. Yeah. I'm glad that you liked it. I hope other people liked it. 3-1, I think, was the final score. MLS beat Liga MX All-Stars. And the one goal, by the way, was scored by Gilberto Mora.
Tell me you saw it.
Who plays for Tijuana. I did see that. That was a very banger. Goal. He's a good player, man. 16 years old, talking about teenagers, and he might be the most compelling player in the region. So just between Tijuana and SDFC, obviously. So, I guess it was okay. I'm glad you liked it. It's one of those things I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about it or encouraging everybody to watch it again somewhere down the road or not watch it. You hear a lot of that with the NBA All-Star Game, with the MLB All-Star Game. They've gotten rid of completely the NFL All-Star Game, the Pro Bowl. But I guess if people liked it, good. I don't, it felt, I didn't stick around to watch the end of it. I did see that I believe Surridge scored, by the way, for Nashville. He's the MLS co-leading goal scorer. He will be in town tomorrow night. So little glimpse into what it is that guy's capable of. He's really, really good. Nashville's a really, really good team. I guess it just didn't captivate me, John. That's all I could say. I thought it would have captivated me a little bit more, but if I'm being honest, I would say I had it on and it was mostly just background.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just so used to like the NBA All-Star Game where the guys are like jogging up and down the court. No one's even trying to play defense. And the baseball All-Star Game when it's like everyone's just swinging for the fences and it basically looks like batting practice. It looks like practice. This didn't look like practice. This looked like a real game. And by the end of it, I actually believed that the teams wanted to win. The players on the field wanted to win for, kind of for country, which was cool. And Apple TV, their commentators spent a good chunk of the game, like I'd say almost 50% of the game, talking about San Diego FC and being like, this is the story of the league this year. They're an expansion franchise. They're top of the table. They had I didn't know Evander, who I forget who Evander's on, but he's on a team that SDFC Cincinnati. They've played them already. I guess Evander and Anders used to be teammates back in like Denmark, and so they were going on and on about how Evander was like, I knew that Anders was going to be like an MVP candidate when he's here. Like, I knew he was this good. And they kept saying, like, STFC, it's not just Chucky, man. Like, it's a great team. And they're like, Yepe kind of came out of nowhere, but like, it's this great team, great coach. Like, watch out for them. They're so strong. So as someone who has only really been digesting this league through the lens of SDFC, it was cool to back up and realize that the rest of the league is also watching SDFC going like, wow, there's something there that's special. And that was fun. That was fun for me.
Yeah, good. I mean, I think that is part of the point of any of these All-Star games, right? It is a point of local pride. It's not like everybody's sitting around going, yeah, MLS, gotta get those Liga MX guys out of here. It's not like anybody's sitting around doing that sort of stuff. I feel like that's not really a thing, especially since the format of the All-Star Game has changed so many times. It used to be MLS All-Stars playing against some of the European teams. Yeah. Even if it was the European B, maybe C squads.
Yep.
So we had those kind of moments in the past. And over the last couple of years, it's been this matchup between Liga MX and MLS, which we'll see starting next weekend with Leagues Cup. So maybe this is just an appetizer for that, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think some of the other stuff, when it comes to Messi and it comes to Jordi Alba, it just feels like that was a little bit of took the wind out of the sails, I think.
Totally. And so, Don Garber was pissed. He was like very obviously pissed.
And are they going to punish these guys? It sort of sounds like they're not going to, And I know everybody's come and rushing to Messi's defense because of how many games that he's played. I think I talked about it. He's played 21 MLS games. I think they played 8 CONCACAF Champions Cup games. They played 4 Club World Cup games. You know who else played a lot of games? LAFC. LAFC played a lot of games too.
Yeah.
Because not only did they play 3 times in the Club World Cup, but they had the play-in game against Club America. And guess what? There was Boanga out there running around in the Heat and doing his thing. And it wasn't just Messi. It was also Messi and Jordi Alba. So it's not like you're just looking at one guy and going, hey, if we're going to give somebody the break here, we're going to give it to Lionel Messi. Mm-hmm. It was coordinated between Messi and Alba that they didn't even show up.
Yeah.
So it puts the league in a very, very awkward position that I think everybody will move on quickly from, because who now really, other than fans of other teams, who really wants to see Lionel Messi suspended?
Yeah.
I mean, it feels fair, but it's also fair to wonder, what if Yeppe's like, yo, I'm 32? Or if Anders had said, hey, I got caught up on my national team.
Yeah.
We have a short roster here, and I've got to do a lot of things, and I'm playing a lot of minutes as well. I know he's not Messi, so this is always going to be apples to oranges, but would he get the same benefit of the doubt? Probably not. Definitely not. So, but anyhow, they ran around, they did their thing. Hopefully they made it back safe and sound, and they'll be good to go tomorrow night. That's the most important thing for me.
Yeah.
But, the timing and some of the expectation. I mean, as of an hour before that match, they were still using Lionel Messi to promote the All-Star Game on television. So, what are you doing? But, it didn't force anybody to watch it. And there were other things, I think, to your point, there were other things to enjoy in that broadcast. So, it wasn't Messi dependent. There used to be this phrase when Messi played for Barcelona with pardon my Spanish here, but they used to call it Messi dependencia, that the team was too dependent on Messi. Is the league too dependent on Messi? I don't know. I'm not sure. But at the end of it, I did start questioning whether All-Star games, whether it's worth it, whether they are worth it, whether you need to rethink this one in particular so that you don't have players scrambling to get to their destination 48 hours after the All-Star game because they have to play a competitive match and an important match.
Don't put them in Texas in the summer. That kickoff was 92 degrees at kickoff. And it was like 9:00 at night, but it's Austin, Texas in the middle of July.
And you could have delayed theirs too. There's been some delays in Austin this year.
For weather?
For like 2 hours. So Can you imagine what are you going to do if you end up in one of those situations? I know there's nothing you can do about the weather, but what are you going to do if you end up with one of these horrible delays and everybody's stuck there till 11:00 at night and nobody can get a flight? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's a work in progress, I suppose. I suppose it is a work in progress. But 3 young players are, 1 confirmed, 2 reported, on their way to San Diego. Not sure what to expect tomorrow night. I will say there is a little bit of good news that Anibal Godoy is expected to play Friday night against his former club. That's good news. And the news seemed to be better on Patty McNair, who had trained yesterday. I don't think that clears him for a game tomorrow night, but he trained yesterday. All right. I don't have a lot on Padres today. In case you're wondering when the Padre talk is coming, I don't think it is. I walked into the radio studio 760 last night. John and Jim looked absolutely exhausted with Padre talk. Everybody's just circling the airport, waiting for something. They play in St. Louis today. Talk about heat. It's expected to be 96 degrees at first pitch today in St. Louis. These, my friends, are the dog days of summer.
Sure. It's going to be gross.
It's going to be disgusting. At least they don't have turf there anymore, right? Wasn't St. Louis the place where people's cleats were melting into the turf?
I think that was Old Busch Stadium.
Yeah, Old Busch will do that.
Yes.
Hulk Hogan passed away today. He was 71 years of age.
Here's the thing. Hulk Hogan didn't pass away. The man who played Hulk Hogan passed away.
Well, now that's an interesting angle to take, John, because it's exactly where I was going. How many people today know that Terry Bollea passed away today?
Almost none. Very
few.
The
world, no exaggeration, is aware of the fact that Hulk Hogan passed away today.
True.
Hulk Hogan at 71 years of age. And this follows Ozzy Osbourne, who at least his name is John Osbourne.
Is that his name? His name's John Osbourne?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, another
John
good John.
something. Yeah, John something Osbourne. Known as Ozzy, and I guess that's a natural thing, right? Ozzy, so sort of seems like a natural nickname. Surprised he wasn't a baseball player with that level of creativity. These were major influences of the 1980s, very much younger version of myself. Watching a lot of WWF, yes, WWF, listening to heavy metal music, watching The Cosby Show on Thursday nights. Rest in peace to Theo Huxtable, Malcolm Jamal Warner. But it's funny that you said it the way you said it, because he really will only ever be remembered for Hulk Hogan, correct? Like, there's nobody who's going to remember Terry Gene Bollea. He was Hulk Hogan to the point where every newspaper, Tony Kornheiser used to play this game on his radio show. It's an old newspaper game, in or out. When somebody passes away, is the obituary on the inside of the newspaper or is it on the outside of the newspaper? And Hulk Hogan is, in my opinion, even though the standards have changed, and I just talked about obituaries recently, he is absolutely going to be outside of the newspaper, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
He is that popular in the world, not just in the United States, in the world, that he is going to be on the outside of almost every newspaper on planet Earth. Would you agree?
Yes, I do. Do you think he reached a level of fame similar to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, or do you think it was bigger than that? It was more important than that?
Well, he didn't have the range.
Well,
of The
of course
Rock.
not. But he did have something of a movie career at one time.
He was Thunder Lips.
He was Thunder Lips. He had a show. He had a movie where he was like the nanny. He was, and that was, he would dress up as, it was literally called Mr. Nanny. What I was looking for was if he was credited as Terry Bollea or Hulk Hogan. He was credited as, hilariously, Terry Hulk Hogan, which is incorrect both ways.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Pick one. Pick a side there, Terry.
Seriously.
Pick a side, Hulkster, brother.
Yeah, I remember there was a period of time where it was like, this guy, not only is he a wrestler, now he's going to be an actor. And then when the acting thing didn't work out, he's a reality TV star. And that him and the Aussie reality shows were going on at kind of similar times. And it was like, wow, this guy really reached beyond wrestling. He's the first guy to reach beyond wrestling into some other kind of entertainment career. And then Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson kind of did the same thing with better acting chops, I think.
Yeah, fair. I don't know that I would say that Dwayne Johnson, is up there with Sidney Poitier. But
no, I just said better.
He's an action movie guy. I mean, he's perfectly acceptable as an action movie guy, right? John Cena, kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
John Cena, he's not known as a thespian, but he's a guy, if you need a bunch of shit blown up, what's John Cena doing?
No, the best actor to come out of wrestling is probably Dave Bautista, right? He's been in a bunch of things lately. He's actually
I don't know who that is.
He was in some of the like Marvel movies. Forgetting the name of those movies, but the whole Marvel universe. He was in them. He played this character. He's big and red, but he's been in a lot of stuff recently, and he's actually said that like his goal is to become a actor. And he was like, I want to be like a real actor who's appreciated for his acting, not just like a guy with muscles that happens to act. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was in Blade Runner 2049. He does some of the action stuff. You haven't seen Dune. Have you seen Dune?
Not really.
You should. Dune's fun. He played Raban in Dune. Just an interesting guy who, even away from like being the wrestler actor guy, he's just an interesting guy with interesting takes.
And we found this clip because I was thinking, I wonder what it's like to go through life where 99.9% of anybody who recognizes you as a character, right? Because he's Hulk Hogan, right. And he's not Terry. But there was this lawsuit, and I don't know how we stumbled across this clip. Somebody posted it on Blue Sky earlier today. So not only was Hulk Hogan a wrestler who was a villain when he first came into the world of wrestling when I was young and impressionable, he was a villain, and then he became a good guy. We'll always remember where I was when I found out that he body slammed Andre the Giant. That was a really big deal, John. That was a really big deal for the high school version of me. And he then... You lose track of this stuff. I didn't follow him into the reality television world. I didn't follow his later life with any of the other things that were going on with him. he ended up somehow involved in a lawsuit because there was a video of him having sex with his neighbor's wife or some such nonsense. I don't know. But video was posted on a website at Gawker Media, and he sued Gawker, and he was funded by Peter Thiel. Do you remember this? Does any of this sound familiar?
Yeah, actually, my favorite post I saw this morning was someone just posted about him dying, and they said journalism survived Hulk Hogan, and I was like, that's right. Like there was a period of time in which it was like, you don't want to say anything about anyone because Peter Thiel will fund them and sue you until it destroys your company, as it did with Gawker. I remember all of this.
Right. And I mean, this was the end of Deadspin.
Yes, correct.
Right? Which is unrecognizable, in my opinion, in 2025 from what Deadspin used to be.
100% correct.
But at any rate, he ended up suing Gawker, which owned Deadspin, and he won the lawsuit. And somebody posted this clip from the trial today where he actually got into this about, well, is there this major difference between Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea? And, you know, they were trying to make the case that Hulk Hogan, him talking about Hulk Hogan on a radio show was different than him talking about Terry Bollea. Terry Bollea, he required some level of privacy, whereas Hulk Hogan was just this character, and therefore all bets were off. It's similar to what we've heard from Alex Jones and InfoWars, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, wait, that guy on that show, he's just a nutcase. He doesn't know anything. Similar to what we've heard on some of the news channels, right? People at Fox News are like, wait a second. It's just called news. It's not real news. So, like, you know, you do have this. I started thinking to myself, I should just create a character so I can say whatever the fuck I want to say on this podcast and never be held accountable for it. And just be like, yo, that wasn't Darren Smith. That was somebody else. Yeah. That was my character. You know, like, that way I could just slander whoever I want all the time. Yeah, I'll just make things up about Mike Schilt, and there will be no repercussions for it whatsoever.
That was the character.
That was the character. It wasn't me. So anyhow, this is actual testimony from, I guess, Terry Bollea talking about an appearance of Hulk Hogan on a radio show where they were talking about how big Hulk Hogan's penis was.
Okay. Did you hear the discussion about the length of your penis? Did you hear
that? I heard a lot of it. I don't know if I heard the whole thing because I couldn't understand everything, but I did hear numbers talked. I heard 2/3, and I compared it to hands and feet and figure it out. I heard that part.
Let me ask you this. Just let's see if we can simplify this. Do you have any doubt as you sit in that witness stand today that you were discussing the length of your penis on Bubba's radio program? Any doubt?
Well, it's not mine because mine isn't that size, but we were discussing the length of Hulk Hogan's.
Seriously? So you
No, seriously, I do not have a 10-inch penis. No, I do not. Okay, seriously.
Fair enough. So what you're telling us is you were discussing
Believe that,
Hulk
seriously.
Hogan's penis, right?
Excuse me?
You were discussing Hulk Hogan's penis.
Yeah, because Terry Bollea's penis is not 10 inches like you're trying to say.
All right. Now, I take it when that discussion was being had over the radio in this community, you didn't think that that was invasive of your privacy, right?
My privacy?
Yes.
Terry Bollea?
Or Hulk Hogan?
We've talked about Hulk Hogan several times. I need to make you understand this, that Hulk Hogan gave up his privacy the moment he walked out his front door, became a celebrity in anonymity. Right. And so I don't like talking about Hulk Hogan's penis, but I've already tried to explain to you, I gave up my right as Hulk Hogan to have Hulk Hogan have any privacy. I don't know how much clearer I can make that to you.
Is that clear, John? I don't know. Like, is that clear to you? In a way, I got to admit, and I'm embarrassed to say this, I kind of do understand the point he's trying to make there. I just can't believe that it's actually valid.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like someone who's got multiple personality disorder, except it's something of a legal strategy in this instance. Yeah, it's. I love the fact that he has to clarify that, like, no. We weren't talking about my penis because my penis is not 10 inches. Like,
right.
Come on, man. What
now Hulk Hogan's penis, though, that's the Hulkster.
That could be, and because he's the Hulkster, we all get to talk about it because he gave up his right to anonymity. Like, I don't know. We were talking about this yesterday after the podcast. I finished Severance. This sounds like a conversation from Severance, right? Of like, no. Like my innie doesn't get to have freedom because he gave that up when I created him and locked him in the whole thing is I don't know. It's hilarious.
Apparently this works because I think he won this lawsuit.
He did.
So whatever it was that he said right there, whatever the line of questioning was, Bubba the Love Sponge or whatever.
Yes.
He was on that show. Well, he wasn't. Hulk Hogan was. Hulk Hogan was on that show. This reminds me very much of having worked with Dick Vitale. That Dick Vitale, who you hear anytime there's a microphone in front of him, is not Dick Vitale that you get when you call him in his hotel room and ask him if he's ready for the interview.
Right. Same thing with Lee
That is
Corso.
not the same person at all.
Yeah, it's
but
character.
The second he gets introduced, he is Dickie V. And he is a character. And again, I don't know that this is that I'm offended by this, that people have these alter egos who have made them filthy rich, whether it's college basketball, wrestling, or what have you. But it seems, John, to be somewhat defensible, if I'm reading this the right way, that he ended up winning this lawsuit, that Terry Bollea did deserve a level of privacy, even if Hulk Hogan was this brash character who made up things about his genitalia.
Well, look, I'm very glad you didn't make any jokes about Dickie V's penis. But this is the whole defense, right? Gawker posted a sex tape of Hulk Hogan, but he said, no, that's not a sex tape of Hulk Hogan. That's a sex tape of Terry Bollea.
Wow, what a luxury.
And they're like, well, if it's a sex tape of Hulk Hogan saying the N-word, that's newsworthy because Hulk Hogan is a big celebrity that everyone knows. And he goes, no, that's Terry Bollea in his bedroom. He deserves enough privacy that you're not publishing his and it's, I guess it's a valid defense because it worked, but then I have to ask the question of like the woman who was sleeping with him. Did she think she was sleeping with Terry Bollea, or did she go around and tell her friends, I screwed Hulk Hogan? I don't know. Like, my guess is she thought she was having sex with the Hulkster. So it's God, I'm so bad. I hate that we're going right back to all the things that trial made us think about in the first place. Not just talking about penises, but like how you can finagle things like this, like you were talking about, as someone who could just make up a character, do horrible things, and then be like, no, that was the character's fault.
Just an act. It's just an act. It's just radio. It's just my shtick. It's not really who I am. It's just what I do when I'm on this broadcast, right? Yeah, we do know people like that, actually. I don't ever want to be one of those people, and I often ask myself, could I do it for $10 million a year? Because I think that there's a lot of those characters. It goes back, John, there's a very famous phrase. There's a question that I was asked once upon a time by Tim Flannery. Are you an actor or are you an artist? For me, I would prefer to be an artist than to be an actor. That's just me. I don't know that I'm succeeding at that. Maybe some would argue that I'm not, because maybe I could have turned this broadcasting career into one of these characters that yells and screams all day, every single day about Aaron Rodgers.
Could have been Skip
or LeBron
Bayless.
James. Or, could have been a Skip Bayless type. Could have been one of those types of characters. Chose this route. Don't know that it's the right route to take, but hey, I got a new microphone out of it, and I guess that's good enough. Let's talk a little bit of NASCAR when we come back. NASCAR is coming to San Diego. We're going to get some of the details from the CEO of Sports SD, as we will say hello to Mark Neville. All right, there is a website, NASCARSanDiego.com. This is going to be June 19th, 20th, 21st. And if you subscribe to the podcast, you probably got this in your inbox recently on the Front Row Seat newsletter, that NASCAR was interested in coming to San Diego. It had us guessing where it was going to be. It had us guessing when it was going to be. We had all sorts of maps there that turned out to be not the right maps, but we do know now it'll be at the Naval Base Coronado, 3-day event. Looking forward to it. A little bit of a street course, a little bit of a track course as well. Mark Neville's the CEO of SportsSanDiego.com. And when they launched SportsSanDiego.com, they said specifically our goals are to bring high-profile events to San Diego. This would qualify. Again, the website, NASCARSanDiego.com. Mark, congratulations. Thank you for doing this. And when should I start listing my house on Airbnb so that people that are coming to town here can put some money in my pocket? When should I start doing that?
Well, from the early numbers for deposits for tickets that I heard were going on right after the announcement, you might want to do it now. There's a lot of, I mean, I knew there was going to be a lot of excitement, and I'm a lifelong race fan. My dad and I went to Riverside International Speedway. I don't even remember the first time I went, but we always went to the Cup race. And NASCAR fans are among the most loyal of any sport in the world, really. And this one has been embraced. There's a lot of NASCAR fans are very traditional, and it's like, man, just give us an oval and let's go fast and let's bang it up and roll, And so, when I've seen other street courses, or even when they go to road courses now, you'll hear from those traditional NASCAR fans. They'll say, "Come on, man, let's just get back on the ovals." You're not hearing about that with this one, and I think a lot of it is, when you think of NASCAR, of all the racing series that are out there, NASCAR just screams Americana, right? And the fact that this event is going to be taking place on, it has to be the most beautiful Navy base in the world, right? With everything that's surrounding it and how scenic it is, and put it on a Navy base on the 250th anniversary of the United States Navy. I don't know how you beat that, and if you're in NASCAR and you're sitting here, your tent pole event right now is the Daytona 500. With next year, and I've heard people within NASCAR call this another tent pole for NASCAR and their calendar. So I can't tell you how excited I am. If you were in my office right now, you see racing pictures in here. In fact, one that I'm looking at right now is of me and my dad with Clint Boyer at Bristol, Tennessee, down on the track about 15 minutes before he got in his car to get rolling around that little oval there in Bristol. But
wow, how about that? Bristol, by the way, hosting a Major League Baseball game this year.
Yeah, so, well, they've done. They had it was Tennessee and Virginia Tech, I think, played in there. I mean, it's 160,000 seats. It's crazy. I don't think that's the best viewing for a football or a baseball game, but for NASCAR,
not the point.
It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah. Not the point at all. They want to set the all-time record for highest attended Major League Baseball game, and they're gonna clear that bar by a lot. Mark, could you give us the quick backstory about how this came to be? Like I said, Sports San Diego is something that you're the CEO of, and you guys had a mission statement of bringing events to San Diego. We talked about a lot on the radio about the basketball classic up at UCSD. Incredibly successful. You guys are bringing in top programs, and now you're bringing in a NASCAR race as well. How did the ball get rolling on this?
You're right, Darren. With Sports San Diego, our purpose really is to drive tourism demand for San Diego's tourism and hospitality industries. We use sports as that platform. And currently, as we sit here right now, Sports San Diego, we own and operate 3 events. We have the annual Holiday Bowl college football game that we do in December. We have the Rady Children's Invitational, the basketball tournament. And now, by the way, we're moving over to USD this year. When you get the national champions in the tournament in Wisconsin, who's going to be flooding the place, along with TCU and Providence, we needed a little more space over. So we're at Jenny Craig Pavilion now. And then we also own and operate the California State Games. We just had the state, the summer games this last weekend. But we also serve as a sports commission. And the point for the sports commission is to attract and recruit tourism driving sports events. They're not all the ones that make it into the newspapers too. We're talking flag football events and some other rugby or lacrosse or soccer, you name it. We're involved in a lot of those types of events that don't make it into the newspapers. Some of them have, like the New Zealand All Blacks when we brought them here to play Fiji, and then Manchester United the last couple summers, and a few other of those international soccer matches. But this one checks a lot of boxes. I think this event, NASCAR San Diego weekend, will be one of the biggest sports events this town has ever seen. And certainly one of the most unique. And I frankly don't think San Diego has a clue as what's about to hit them. For those who are NASCAR fans, they understand it. The sounds alone are spectacular. For those of you who aren't sports fans and you're going to get tickets to go, make sure you have some earplugs because it's loud. The smells are very unique, and I'm a huge IndyCar fan too. And IndyCar has a very unique smell when you go to the track. NASCAR is the same way. The colors, you see it when you watch a NASCAR race on TV. It's more brilliant when you're even in person. And the fans who go to these, the avid NASCAR fans, they're also very colorful too, and because they wear all those uniforms, and it's they're some of the most avid fans of any sport in the world. And so San Diego, what this is going to do, and the reason why we were so excited about it was that it is going to put a lot of people in hotel rooms. It's going to put a lot of people into our restaurants and our bars and go into our local attractions. It's going to help support and create jobs. It's going to create tax revenues that are going to help the city. And I think, we've proven ourselves to be a town that really gets into big events, especially these like annual or one-off events. We're a good special event city, and they're hard to come by, and it's a challenging place to bring events because we don't have a 70,000 seat stadium anymore. We don't have an 18,000 seat arena. We don't have, a big track that we can use, for tracking, like large scale track and field events. But we do have there is a uniqueness to San Diego. I mean, number one, and I was just overseas not long ago, and it's quite clear that San Diego has the best climate in the world year round. Like you can't argue with that. We do have the beautiful beaches. We have the mountains. We have the border right down. We are the largest concentration of military service members in the world are here in San Diego. There are certain things, and we do have some great facilities. Snapdragon Stadium is a great facility. Petco Park is great. The Viejas is great. And then on a smaller side, the Lion Tree Arena, as we played the basketball tournament up at UC San Diego, is great, as is Jenny Craig Pavilion, and all these there's a lot of other places that are terrific and conducive for staging world-class events. NASCAR is one that I was extra excited about. And yesterday, I got to tell you, is one of the highlights of my career. The fact that we had a hand in bringing this event here. It was pretty amazing. I'm super proud of our organization. We have an incredible team here. I'm just like one piece of the puzzle. There's a lot of folks who do incredible work and did incredible work to help to bring this here. I'm really happy for San Diego. And again, I truly don't believe San Diego realizes how happy they should be over this, because this is going to be an impactful event for our region. Very grateful to NASCAR that, I'll never forget taking them up when I came down here the first time to look at sites. We took them to a few different places, but when we went to Cabrillo National Monument and looked down, and it was a stunningly beautiful day, and looking down onto where we ran, the Holiday Bowl ran a vintage race, the Coronado Classic Speed Fest.
I remember that.
And said, yeah, that's where we did it. And they're looking at the mountains and the blue sky and these like beautiful white puffy clouds that were popping up, and the Coronado Bridge. And I said, oh, that's Mexico over there. And those are the Coronado Islands, and the water was like incredibly blue. And I think that was kind of it. I think they were picturing an amazing telecast, for not only the Cup race, but also for the Xfinity race and the Craftsman Truck race. They knew that the 250th anniversary for the United States Navy was on the horizon, when they would be looking to do this. I just think the stars aligned. And I don't think there is a better place on the planet for them to do an event, having their first, Cup race on an active military installation. I mean, it's going to be only the second time in their history that they're doing a street race. And the reaction has been, I have not seen negative reactions to it at all. It's been pretty darn favorable, and maybe I'm just sitting in a silo and looking for all the good stuff. But there's a lot of work to do between now and next June. That's for sure.
All right. I have just two questions, and I don't know if you can help me with the answer to either one of them. So feel free to just be like, I don't know for both these. The first one is about...
I don't know a lot about
that's
a lot. So
that's okay. The first one is
ready.
about the course itself, which I watched that promo video with all the guys going up in the jets and freaking out, and it was great. It was really fun. But at one point, they kind of outlined where the course is going to be on North Island. And it's a small chunk of North Island. And this isn't like trying to do a street race in downtown Chicago where there's buildings and airports and people's homes and everything. Like, I get the feeling they probably could have made a course anywhere on North Island with the Navy's approval. Why specifically did they pick like that section, that course? Did you guys have anything to do with it? Was there any thought of like, this is what the background will look like on TV? Or was it just NASCAR took it over and they're like, we make the course and don't ask questions?
It was really funny. We did show them where we did it, because we had like a 1.6 mile track that was actually out on the runways.
Yeah.
And so we could kind of create anything. And it was kind of like, yeah, hey, thanks a lot. Anyway, and they turned it back to me and they did their own thing. I do know, and I have seen a model of a track, and like one of the renderings that they put together. I know they've done several of them. And I've heard NASCAR folks like Ben Kennedy, who is one of the leads on the event, and Amy Lupo, who's was named the president of NASCAR San Diego. They're both incredible people. And they have said that really the drivers are going to be the ones that are going to kind of create this track. They built these renderings and then they actually put them into like, so they can drive them in simulators. And so they're going to be able to do it. Now, it's going to go around the base, so, picture them going by aircraft carriers, at 150 miles an hour. It's going to, while it will touch the tarmac a little bit, it's going to go around the base. It's probably likely going to end up in a 2.5 to 3+ mile track. The renderings I have seen is that it's going to be fast. There's some pretty long straight sections that I'm like wondering is like they're probably going to put a chicane in here or a chicane in there to slow them down a little bit, but I think it's going to be a pretty fast track all in all, from what I've seen.
Oh, okay. Oh. We can jump right into my other one. I was going to give Darren a turn, but that's fine. This is kind of off topic, but you are, I'm assuming, going to be somewhat involved in marketing and promotion of this, or maybe that's all left in NASCAR's hands, or maybe they're asking you for help with this. There was an article in the San Diego Union Tribune this morning that Jimmy Johnson wants to race in this, but to race in it, he literally has to qualify for it. There's no other way for him to get in the race. And so he said he's going to work hard. This is kind of a dream come true, like, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it would be kind of crazy, I think, for them to hold a race in San Diego, have Jimmy Johnson say he wants to run in it, and then have him not actually be a part of it. That would be very much getting off on the wrong foot, I feel like. So on your side of things, are you thinking about how Jimmy Johnson could kind of be like the face of a marketing thing, assuming he makes this race, to get at least all of San Diego and Southern California race fans even more amped to go and attend this?
So if I had a magic wand, of course, we want Jimmy Johnson in this race, but rules are rules, and I have nothing to do with that. I'd like, I don't want to overstate my role in the event moving forward, but and the role of Sports San Diego. But rules are rules, and I'm sure everyone at NASCAR hopes he qualifies, for this, but he does need to qualify. Obviously he's, I don't know exactly what his ownership stake is in one of the teams, but I know that there is one, and so I think his team is going to do everything they can to provide him with the best possible car to give him the best possible shot of qualifying for this thing. I mean, it would be disappointed if he didn't, it'd be a bummer. But at the same time, even if whether he's part of the starting grid or not, I mean, it's going to be amazing. One guy was telling me yesterday who knows these guys really well, is like, there's going to be an extra special push to win this race. Like being out 250th anniversary, first time on an active Navy base, the race at the base. This would be an extra special checkered flag to take for these guys, regardless of which series, whether it's the trucks, Xfinity, or the Cup. They're gonna be going for this one big time.
Mark, I've been to a couple of races, went up to Fontana once in Pocono, and those are races, obviously, that are a lot different in that they were not on an active duty military base. I did go. I was invited. You guys were kind enough one year to invite me for the Holiday Bowl for the mini kart race out there on the island. And there's checkpoints and things that you would expect for anybody that's spent any time on a base. Any advance? Just looking ahead at how it's going to work for the general public in terms of their ability to purchase tickets, what it's going to be like. Just trying to plan that through. I know it's June of next year, but it's not a ton of time. It'll be here before you know it. For people that are planning ahead, what does that look like for you guys?
Fans who get tickets for the race are going to be going to a race. It's just going to be an extra special spot, and so, of course, the whole base isn't going to be open. People aren't going to be able to walk out onto a runway and all that stuff. I mean, the Navy's pretty good at that stuff, and so it's going to be contained to the actual NASCAR San Diego weekend venue, right? So it's not going to be like the whole base is going to be open to everybody. That'd be kind of shocking, actually. So no, I am not worried about base access and security. I mean, if there's anyone who's good at security, it's the United States Navy. So I think everything will be just fine. And I don't think fans have to really worry about that stuff either. I mean, they get a ticket, they're going to enjoy the race. And and by the way, since we're on that, tickets are going to go on. So people can put deposits down for their tickets right now, and I do know they are going really well. Like I was talking with somebody last night that said, the first few hours the numbers they're seeing are almost unprecedented for pre-sale. So those are at NASCARSanDiego.com as well. And on that same website, there is a link that will take, if you want to volunteer for the event, it actually takes you to our website. Because, we don't know the exact scope of work that we're going to have, but I have a feeling that is one of the areas that we're going to be engaged with.
Do you know how many fans, though, will be able to attend?
They're going to determine that once the track is established, because then they're going to know what kind of grandstand setups they can do and things like that. So they have not said definitively what the capacity will be on a daily basis.
Like ballpark? Like Petco Park, 40,000. I don't even know where to start with this. Mark.
40,000 doesn't sound out of the realm. I mean, I've heard numbers that are like that, maybe even a little north of that.
Okay.
But again, they're not making any commitments because they have no idea, in terms of what the grandstands will look like and other hospitality areas and other even, viewing areas. A lot of people, you can get tickets generally when you go to races. You don't have to buy a ticket in a grandstand. You can get a grounds ticket where you can just go around and find a spot against the fence, and try to watch as much of it as possible. This event will be unlike any other NASCAR event ever. I mean, you think about, many people have gone to NASCAR weekends or race weekends, and there's certain things that are kind of a given. You got practices that you can watch, you got qualifying, you got the actual races themselves. You can get a ticket to go into the paddock, where the cars are, where the teams are working on the cars. And then there's other games and, all this stuff that you can do. And a lot of that will be consistent, with what's going to happen on Naval Air Station North Island for this event. But what's going to be entirely unique to really nearly any other race in the world, being on an active Navy base, I think the vibe that will be out there is going to be unlike any other NASCAR race ever in its history. And it's just, it's crazy, that it's going to be here. Like, the most unique race in the history of NASCAR is going to be right here in San Diego.
Yep. Good news indeed. What's your next event, by the way? What are you working on next?
We're working on a few. What's so funny is we've been sitting on this for a long time. We entered into, we signed NDAs more than a year ago. And as a monster race fan, this has been, I used this analogy before and people thought it was gross, but it will make sense to you guys. I felt like I so wanted to say something to people, and so it was like this zit that was just growing and growing. And then like at 8:00 yesterday morning, man, it just popped. And I just went crazy, I mean, it was so nice to get that out there. Like, thank goodness. And so, it's funny, like listening to, I'd listen to some radio shows. I thought there was a particularly funny one on Braden Serpennan's show last week. This guy called in and he said he was a member of the San Diego Sports Commission Committee. And I never heard the guy. And he was talking about like this crazy track it was 250 miles. It was going to be up and down the Strand.
Right.
The laps are going to be like 16 miles long. And going, I guess there would be no passing, but they're going to go like 200 miles an hour opposite direction with a K rail in between them. And it was going to be called the Silver Sands 250. I mean, it was like, I'm just listening to it laughing. And it was like, this is great. And there were a lot of, and people that have seen write-ups about how it's going to be running through the downtown streets of San Diego. And that, of course, creates all these calls that we were getting, and I know the mayor's office and everyone was getting these calls about, we can't do this in San Diego and stuff like that.
Is that right? Well, Mark, listen, a really good friend of mine is a guy named Sean Kelly. Maybe you heard him on my show back in the day. But, he's a statistician with Formula One, and he lives in Coronado, and he's a race fan, right? So he's not particularly parochial about F1 and NASCAR and such, or Indy racing. He loves it all. And he's a great guy. You really should meet him. But he told us a story here on this podcast that many years ago, he wanted to bring, or at least get the ball rolling a little bit, on an F1 race coming to San Diego. And he got it to the mayor's office, except the mayor was Bob Filner. So you know how that turned out. But he actually had a course all mapped out. It was going to be the convention center, it was going to be the pit area, it was going to go down Harbor Drive. And he told us all of this story again. So, I'm sure that's probably not the first time that people have kicked around bringing, one of these circuits here to San Diego, and you're the one that made it happen. So kudos to you.
I don't want to take all the credit, man. Again, this is a big puzzle, and I was just, one piece of the puzzle in our organization. Made up several pieces of that puzzle. But there have been lots of efforts and lots of thoughts about putting races downtown. Bill Center, retells a story a lot about how Chris Pook, who created the Long Beach Grand Prix, was coming down and was trying to do something similar down here. Ultimately, what makes it difficult and why downtown would be difficult, take the traffic and the street closures out of it. That would be pretty onerous on its own, but the railroad tracks. Are an issue. You think about cars don't generally want to do bunny hops when they're going around a racetrack at 100 miles an hour plus. I think downtown San Diego would be stunning. I think it would be impossible for it really to happen in downtown streets. And I'm a very open-minded, I'd like to think I'm a pretty creative guy. It would be difficult. Fun to think about. But I think whenever you get, boots on the ground to talk about it and really look at it, it's difficult. There was at one time a race over in the Liberty Station area. It was, and it's tough. It's really tough. I think going out on the base at North Island is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And for fans NASCAR fans, and particularly in the Southwest, and there's a pretty good contingency of NASCAR fans in the Southwest here. They're going to come and they're going to experience unlike any other NASCAR experience they get anywhere else. And I think it's going to be magical, and it's just, again, for the NASCAR folks and for the Navy too. And it's going to be a lot of work, and it's 11 months away.
Well, we'll let you get working on it. Mark, we appreciate it. Thanks for making time for us. Thanks for joining us, and good luck. We appreciate it. And again, I'll get that Airbnb listing going right now.
Do it. Yeah. Some good money out there probably for it. So good luck.
All right. So there you go. Some of the details about what it's going to look like June 19th, 20th, 21st of 2026. Good job out of you, John.
Less than a year from now, by the way.
As he said, 11 months.
Oof.
That's going to fly. You don't have a lot of time to be sitting around and doing a bunch of podcasts. You got to get going.
Especially everything they do, I'm assuming, has to get approved by the Navy. Hey, we want this course. Navy's got to approve it. We want to build these stanchions. Navy's got to approve it. We want this VIP. Navy's got to approve it. I feel like I would need more than 11 months to get that done. But as he said, he's been kind of sitting on this for a little while. So maybe they're already halfway there.
Have you ever been to a race?
You know what? As a kid, my dad used to regularly take me to the what are they called? Midget cars, I think they're called. The little square looking things with the things on top. We used to go see that. There was a dirt track by us that my dad would take me to all the time. And then I went to a couple of IndyCar races as a kid, but I've never been to a NASCAR race, and I've always kind of wanted to. I've heard a lot of people say the same thing he did, which is like, there's a specific smell about NASCAR races, and it's lovely. And I'm like, okay, like I feel like that's going to be the same smell as like when you walk around a marina and every boat smells like gasoline. But I don't know. I'm interested to find out. I'm going to see if I can find a way to go to this.
I've completely forgotten that when I was at ESPN, I somehow picked up a producer's gig producing the NASCAR radio show on ESPN radio.
Okay.
And so I became friends with a lot of the NASCAR PR people, and they were all good people, really, really good people. I didn't watch a ton of NASCAR, but it was one of those moments, John, in sports broadcasting where you're like, oh, I'm going to now get into this, you know? And maybe you do for a couple of weeks, maybe a half a season, and then it kind of just fades away, right? And you know, you reach a certain age, and it's kind of hard to add things to the plate. You kind of are who you are by the time you're 30, 35 years of age. It's difficult. Statistically, you're not going to become a fan of other music or, you just kind of are what you are.
Yeah.
But at any rate, it was one of those, I got to know these people and I got invited to go to the Pocono 500 or 600 or whatever it is. Made a whole weekend out of it, drove down from Connecticut to go to the Poconos, which Pennsylvania, I guess.
Yeah, up in the mountains of Pennsylvania, right?
Had the pit passes and the whole shooting match. Was down there in the pit. Was down there. You could see the way it works, all the telemetry. And this was late 90s, early 2000s. So you can imagine how far advanced it is. But I had a chance to go down and be in some of the pits and go into the garages. And he's right. The smell, the sound, if you've been, if you haven't and you're going to go, you'll never forget. It is really, really unique. And then getting the chance to go up, we did a couple of radio shows from Fontana. Because, they bought ad time on Mighty 1090, so Philly Billy. Back in the day, if somebody bought ad time,
you'd show up.
You'd drive to, fucking different state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you could sell like a bit of advertising, be like, hey, guess what? You guys are doing your show from Phoenix today. Better get on the road early. That's the way it used to be. When we had that OG's deal, I mean, my God, we used to be up in Huntington Beach and Orange, I mean, just, anywhere to go do a 3-hour radio show. It's insane.
Yeah.
But they sold a package and it made a lot of sense. And we went up there and I don't think there was any payoff, but you got a chance to be around it a little bit. And it was a lot of fun. My wife, for my birthday, got me the NASCAR experience. Now that was amazing.
What was that?
Well, when the track in Fontana wasn't being used, you could go up there and you could do what's called the NASCAR experience, where you get to drive the cars.
Oh my goodness. And
you could either do the ride along, which is somebody will drive you around the track at a high rate of speed.
Yeah.
Or you can go and you can take the class and you can learn all about the equipment and you can drive it and you could do a bunch of laps. And as I was talking about this, that I was going to go do it, one of my listeners is like, hey, just so you know, those of us that are in the motorsports, if you don't hit 150, you're a bitch. Like, don't even talk about this anymore. That's the maybe it wasn't that dramatic, but it was the way it made me feel.
It was
the
don't chicken out.
Yeah, it was like, hey, listen, like you get something, you get a certificate or you get a T-shirt if you hit 150.
Oh my God,
that's what it is. So I don't think it's as simple as you can do whatever speed you want to do, but there was some incentive to go 150. So maybe it wasn't as insulting, but that's the way I processed it. Right? I felt like I was being challenged by a listener, and I got to 150, John.
Wow,
got to 151, as a matter of fact.
Look at you. Did you get a T-shirt?
I did. I have a certificate around here somewhere. I mean, God knows where it is. Yeah, I'm sure it's been moved 2 or 3 times since I did it. So the idea is it's somewhere in a box. One of those things when you move, you come across it. You're like, why am I saving this?
Yeah.
Do I need this anymore? But you're like, yeah, I have to prove to the rest of the world that I once upon a time drove an automobile 151 miles per hour on an actual NASCAR track. But it's cool. Like it's I always appreciate it when I'm there, when you watch it. I don't follow a lot of NASCAR. I don't know that I'm going to follow a lot of NASCAR between now and June of next year, but I'm glad this event is coming to San Diego and 50,000 people. That sounds like a lot to me. It does.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I posted something in Front Row Seat this morning. It was like a blog from someone from a very, very small media outlet that's like based in Valley Center. And it was kind of, at first I was like, this is silly and amateurish. But the more I read it, I was like, I get where they're coming from. And they were basically saying like, San Diego is a much bigger city and supports their sports teams successfully for many decades now. We deserve to be thought of as a relevant and good sports market. And really the only way we're going to get there is to keep doing stuff like this, these one-off events, and show them to be successful. And then it's like, wow, San Diego, that is a good sports market. And then we get into, us as a city, get into the heads of executives when it comes time for expansion or moving talk or anything like that. But yeah, I'm all for this. Like if it shows up and it's a big success, there's no downside to San Diego whatsoever, except, you're bringing a lot of heavy drinkers to San Diego for a few days. But like when have we ever cared about that? That's good. That's good for the local business and tourism industry.
Yeah, actually, I think it's kind of funny to see what it is that's going to happen in Coronado specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is not Santee.
Right, yes. All those people flooding into Coronado is going to be funny. I imagine a lot of them are going to be hanging around the gas lamp, and then they're going to ferry over. I don't know how that's going to work, how you're going to ferry over and then get over to the base. But I imagine some people will try it. And yes, it will be funny. It will be entertaining. And at the end of the day, the way that Mark described it right there when he was talking about, bringing him to Cabrillo and looking down, like you can just see what the images on TV are going to look like and how everyone's going to be like, gosh, it's pretty in San Diego.
Yeah, of course. Even when people were talking about, this, you fooled me with the track going up and down the Strand.
Fooled you.
I was thinking, wow, that's going to actually be really, really pretty with the bay on one side and the ocean on the other side, except you were passing along fake news, John.
I drew...
Just a member of the fake news media.
Okay, so final question for you that I didn't ask Mark for a lot of obvious reasons. How close, because we had talked about, hey, if there's any Section 1904 members with a boat that you want me and Darren and probably our wives and friends to jump on and hang out with you during this race, how close do you think the Navy is going to let people get to their base on a boat? Because I imagine it's pretty low. Like
you'll be able to cruise like right between Harbor Island, Shelter Island. Is it Harbor or Shelter? I think it's both, right? But like the whole Point Loma area between the airport and the base, there's always boats around there. Now, I don't know if you can just drop anchor and just occupy space.
That's what I was thinking.
Now you can go over to Glorietta Bay, but that's not going to be a good view of the track. People do drop anchor there for 4th of July. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty crowded out there, John. I also have a feeling it's going to be quite a race on the Coronado Bridge on the way out after the I mean, people are going to be flying over that bridge.
Yeah, don't plan on going anywhere. If you don't Airbnb your place, don't plan on going anywhere because getting home is going to be a nightmare. By the way,
every time I watch a race, the next time I'm in a car, I like drafting and switching lanes and doing all that stuff. I'm just driving up and down the 5. Imagine what it's going to be like if you go to this race. You're going to be flying over that Coronado Bridge.
You do get a little tempted to do the bump drafting because you watch so much of it. Right. You're like, we could both go faster if you just let my bumper bump into yours.
Yeah. I don't know that this Camry is built for it, but let's see if we can make that happen here. I definitely get a little bit of that. So hopefully I think I'll probably maybe ride my bike up there if we're going to go. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Good for them, though. Good for San Diego.
You think
we said when we started this, mission statement of the podcast is if it's good for San Diego, then we're supportive of it.
It's good for us. Do you think you would be the first person to ride a bike to a NASCAR race ever?
Probably not.
I don't know.
But we'll see what happens. Just check the Discord. Nothing's going on with the Padres. Like I said, I know a lot of the people that do sports talk, and they are exhausted.
Yeah, I looked at
it is so boring and redundant right now, and they just need something to change the topic. Yeah. They are all like at the end of the road with this. Like, what are they going to do? They just are. Our friends are dying in sports talk, and plus they have to do it for 4 hours. So
I do like that it's like, oh, the Padres are interested in Jarren Duran. And so they talk about Jarren Duran for 2 weeks. And then it's like, actually, they're interested in Sandy Alcantara. Now they're talking about Sandy Alcantara and it's just like, you could take any name from any team. Be like, the Padres are interested in this guy. Oh, there's a week of content while we talk about who would go out. How would they fit? Would they make the Padres into a playoff contender? How do they match up against the Dodgers with Sandy Alcantara and the line? It's a whole It's a thing. It's a waste of time is what it is most of the
It
time.
is. And you know it when you're doing it, and they know it. They're just like, please, like, I'm so tired of talking about every one of these unconfirmed Twitter rumors. But what else can you talk about? I don't know.
NASCAR.
Hulk Hogan's penis, I guess.
Hulk Hogan's penis. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a podcast. Thank you again to everybody for smashing the like button, leaving us a review. That was a nice surprise when we logged on today. Thanks again to Mark Neville if you missed it in real time. NASCAR, San Diego.com. We'll talk to you tomorrow.